Hello, welcome back to NPC Stories. Last week we met some shopkeepers, who are probably the most common sorts of NPCs that you'll ever meet in any given universe. This week we're going to temples, because they're also pretty common. Parties find themselves in temples for lots of different reasons. Maybe there is a cleric or a paladin in the party, or after a battle they need some healing, or before a battle they need some potions. Maybe somebody died and you're looking to get them resurrected. Whatever the reason, temples and the people that work in them often play an important role in your party's survival. Now, if you've ever flipped through the player's handbook, you'll notice that there are lots and lots and lots of gods to choose from. So the chances of me making a cleric for one god and that god being in your campaign are pretty slim. So instead, I'm going to make a cleric for a domain, and then you can pick whatever god that fits that domain that you want for that cleric. They were, of course, created with a specific god in mind, and that is where their titles come from. So you can change those or use those, whatever you want. With that, we are hitting up 3 domains this week: Death, Nature, and War. Doomguide Landon Obitus serves the god of death. Born a soldier's son, he was raised to become the same, but lacked both the skill and conviction to become truly great. He was hired by a noble as a guard for their keep, and murdered as he kept watch. Upon his death, he experienced a vision of a god staring at a set of empty scales, and a voice rang through his head and said, "I cannot judge you. Your deeds have not yet been done." And Obitus awoke in the morgue of the god's temple. It took some convincing to make the clerics believe that he was not, in fact, undead, but eventually they accepted the fact that he was somehow miraculously alive. Obitus dedicated his life from that moment to the service of his god, who he believes gave him a second chance at life. He is a tall human man with short gray hair, dark skin, and hazel eyes. His hair turned gray after his first death, and he is actually only 38 years old. He wears the robes of his god and carries a hand-and-a-half sword with a skull on the pommel. Obitus believes that deeds make the man and judges off of actions rather than words. His god gave him a second chance at life, and so he tries to offer that to others. He handles executions for the city and offers convicted criminals a chance at life in the service of his god rather than death. Obitus will also attempt to resurrect a life that was ended too soon, as his god did for him. Green Sister Verd Aquilus serves a goddess of nature and peace. She was always shy and secretive, even for a wood elf, and found peace near tranquil waters. She spent most of her days swimming and sunbathing with the Fae. One night she had a dream in which a horde of ogres stopped up the stream with rocks and filth, and her peaceful oasis withered and died. Following the path of her dreams, she found the ogres and stood, one against many, as they threatened to tear her apart and ruin her perfect peace. But her Fae friends came to her aid, and together they battled and pestered the beasts until they fled. As they celebrated their victory, a form appeared in the water, and with a soft voice compelled Verd to go find an ancient temple. It was in ruins, but with the goddess's guidance and the help of the Fae, they restored it to its formal natural beauty. Verd is tall and willowy, with long brown hair, blue eyes, and tan skin. She wears the robes of her goddess, blue and green, loose and flowing, like water swirling and leaves blowing in the wind. It would be easy to mistake her for a nymph or a dryad if you didn't know any better. Despite being the head of a temple, she has never quite gotten over her shyness and is quiet around strangers. She is very agreeable, as she hates fighting and arguments, and her purpose is to help others find peace, whether that is by guiding them through internal struggles or offering advice and comfort in times of heartbreak. Warlion Fang fights for the god of war. He's a half-orc that was raised in a savage orc clan and was cast out after he questioned the teachings of their bloodthirsty god. While he loves the rage of battle and the thrill of a fight, he loves it for the art of it and for the displays of power rather than the destruction and the killing. His travels led him to challenge a gladiator, the Breaker, in battle. They were evenly matched and both collapsed after 3 days of ceaseless fighting. He lost a tusk and an ear in the fight, but gained something greater. A cleric of a war god had been watching the fight and approached him afterwards, entreating him to join their ranks. Fang agreed, and through much dedication and hard work, fought his way to the top. However, he still hunts for the gladiator that nearly beat him that day, to test his strength against him once again. Fang is 6 feet tall, bald, with pale gray eyes and grayish skin. He is broad and beefy, with the left side of his face scarred from his fight, and his left ear and his left tusk missing. When brawling in the temple, he typically wears only trousers, but he does own a set of ceremonial filigreed plate armor, and a greatsword that bursts into flames. He greets all newcomers to the temple by asking them if they've seen this gladiator that he's searching for. He's always eager to accept a fight as long as it's for the right cause, and doesn't hand out information too easily. Instead, he challenges the information seeker to a fight. He doesn't truly intend to hurt them, he just wants to see if they're brave enough to take a swing at him. And those are some temple leaders! Priests, clerics, whatever you want to call them. As always, I hope this was inspiring or helpful to you. You can let me know by liking this video, and if you want to see more NPCs in the future, click the subscribe button. You can also find me on Twitter at NPC Stories. Join me next week as we set sail.